Well, hey there, everybody. Sorry about that. Experiencing a little technical difficulty. Still learning about the platform and all that good things. Looks like I'll have to be in touch with Ecamm and just kind of find out what went on. Gentlemen, I assume you can still hear me. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Good. Can you talk?
Good.
Yep.
All good.
Okay. All right, so we were talking about with the Patriots and that. We'll finish up with, I was going to ask you guys about Bill Belichick. He got his 300th win. Each of you give your thoughts on it. Is it all about him, all about Brady, all the other players that he's had? Bill often gives the credit to the players. It's his. They say it's a player's game. What do you each got to say about Bill's 300th?
I say it's obviously all of the above. I don't think anybody ever could even say, that it wouldn't be all of the above, including Robert Kraft, obviously, that came in there in '94 and built this thing the way he wanted to. I mean, it's quite an accomplishment. 300 wins. I think he's 47 away from Shula.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking, 6 more seasons or 5 more seasons probably of, just regular football for him. 10-win seasons, and he's got it. And I honestly believe, I think he and Shula have a little bit of a feud going or a little bit of a rivalry going. I think Bill, he ain't going anywhere until he gets that 348, as far as I can see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And to me, I think the other piece, I should get Dante Scarnecchia's phone number and tell him how much I love him, but you think of the pieces, like he retired for a bit, and Bill talked about retirement and what the difference he made when he came back, and we almost lost McDaniels to a coaching gig, and he stayed. Like Bill is pulling the strings, but he's wise enough to know how many parts have made it all come together. And I'm just like you, Blazy. I don't know what Don Shula did to me, but or the Dolphins, because they really haven't mattered in this run that we've enjoyed as fans. But I couldn't be more happier if he stayed and got one win more than Shula and then retired the next day. That would just be brilliant.
Well, anyway, that'll be enough Patriots talk for one day. I'm sure Link, if he's still with us, is like, when is this going to stop? But sorry, Link, the way it is when greatness is upon you. So, number 2. Oops, where's my number 2 going here? Just a sec. All kinds of difficulties this week. There we go. Number 2. And unanimous on the number 2 pick. We've all gone with the New Orleans Saints on this one. Still looking like the class of the NFC. Any reason to believe that things are going to change in New Orleans, T-Mac? Breeze is back. They were playing just as good with Bridgewater. Pretty hard to see them not making the Super Bowl at this point.
I would agree, except that I think the NFC is so deep this year. I mean, Breeze came back, and they have depth at running back. Their defense is for real. They're a great team, but my God, on any given Sunday, the Vikings, the Packers, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the AFC, NFC seemed like it shifted overnight to where the power brokers were, and I still think when Mahomes comes back, the Chiefs will be a team to be reckoned with, but there's so many good teams in the NFC that, we have the Saints now because they haven't given us a reason to knock them down one, but there's a lot of teams there that we could change those NFC rankings, put them in a hat, pull out any order of those 5, and I don't think you could really argue.
Right. So, Blazy, you didn't move him out of that spot either, much the same reasons, eh?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to move him out. I mean, Breeze came in there and picked up right where Teddy Bridgewater left off, right? I mean, yeah, I understand the 49ers are undefeated, and but you know what? They both got the same amount of wins. I guess you can go there, right? So, until they give me a reason to knock them out, I gotta stick with them there.
Well, I got to put a little plug in for Latavius Murray, as seeing as I made a trade on the weekend in the Atlantic Bowl with Cameron, and I figured, well, what the heck? I didn't see myself going too far with what I had, so I got rid of him for Ingram, Murray. Who was the other guy I traded in that? Gee whiz.
Michael Thomas was in there, wasn't he?
I traded Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
I think Thomas and Geis I traded, and then I got another receiver from him. Terrible. Anyway, So yeah, good plug in for there. But that does give it gives the Saints, a good running, like, more. I mean, they got Kamara, who's a threat at running back. Now they got Murray, who's a power, like, kind of the power guy. Geez, I'm telling you, you think ahead, potentially for them in New England to be in. I'll tell you what, that defense is going to get well challenged if that does end up being the matchup in the Super Bowl. So we'll move off of number 2. And at the third pick, we start to have a little bit of disagreement, but at 3 and 4, that's just a flip-flop. You two went with the 49ers. I chose to go with Green Bay. Only reason I kind of took Green Bay there, normally I would take the 7-0 team, but I don't know, I just think Green Bay has had the little bit tougher schedule. And they're looking like a pretty complete team, too. I mean, again, getting back to what Max said about the NFC, it is extremely deep with teams there. And so, I mean, their defense is playing well. They got a running game with Adams or Jones. And then, Rodgers is playing real well as well. So you two went with the 49ers. Bladesy, I'll let you start. Why did you take the Niners at 3 and the Packers at 4?
Same thing, man. I had them at 3, and they didn't do anything to prove otherwise. They had a bad game last week in Washington, but they were playing in a rainstorm. Ended up winning that thing 9-0, but then they popped back. And I mean, Carolina, they did have Kyle Allen, but they were playing pretty well going into San Francisco, and they just dismantled them, kind of thing. So I think there's no way I can move them down after that. But like you say, Packers are strong. They've got a defense that they haven't had in a long, long time. Aaron Rodgers in his running game, or Aaron Jones in that running game, something that Aaron Rodgers really is not used to having. Devontae Adams hasn't been playing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I don't know how good it's going to be when he comes back. So, same old thing. You put those 3 teams together. I mean, you can pick either any one of those 3 NFC teams there, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Rob Randall says San Francisco has the better defense between them and the Packers. Still too early to tell. Has San Francisco had enough tests for that, or you think he makes a valid point? Anybody want to take that one?
They've been playing the best, for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, but like you said, they haven't really had the schedule. They played the Rams, which, that team's hit and miss. Goff really is having quite a hangover post-Super Bowl year as far as most people are concerned. And so jury is really still out on how good the Rams really are, especially when Gurley is less than 100%, which he has been. But, right now you got to give this, they have been doing it because of Garoppolo. I mean, let's be honest, Garoppolo is doing what he should be doing and winning those games and not losing those games, but it's been really the defense and the running game that has really propelled them to undefeated. Getting Emmanuel Sanders last week, I think, is going to be huge. It's going to help them for sure. But, right now, I would give the edge to the 49ers, but that could all change next week.
For sure. So at number 5 is where we start to, or is where we do have our differing of opinions. Mac went with the Vikings. Blasey went with the Ravens. I had the Ravens last week at 5. I opted to go with Seattle. Nothing more than the fact that the Ravens had the week off. I know that shouldn't really affect with the ranking. But
they lost their bye week.
They lost their bye week. Anyway, I went with Seattle. Seattle's won another game. They're kind of, they're going to be a quiet. I think they are kind of at this point a little bit of a dark horse sort of thing. When you look at, you look at New Orleans, how strong that they're being, the 49ers being undefeated and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays itself out. I definitely see Seattle making the playoffs. Wilson having an MVP-like season. Their defense is actually not that bad. I think if they could play in Seattle a home game, you might take them a little more serious, but don't see that happening unless, everything falls apart in other parts. So you went with the Ravens or Vikings, Mac. Why did you choose them? They got 2 losses.
Well, if good Kirk Cousins is playing, I don't think there's a better offense. There's as good of offenses, but with Thielen, Diggs, and Dalvin Cook, with good Kirk Cousins, they've got a really good defense as well, and they can play with anybody. It's just the difference is we've seen good Kirk Cousins the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If he keeps playing, I see that what we talked about. That offense is as good as New Orleans. That offense is as good as Green Bay. Cook is the best. Kamara is a great running back, but Dalvin Cook is special as well. So to me, their defense has been better longer. The Packers and the Saints are playing well right now, but the Vikings defense was the given.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think Cousins, what he's done the last 3 weeks is what people were expecting from the beginning. He didn't. So to me, they've shown me that they're the ones that should be up there.
Right on. And Blasey, you opted to go with the Ravens this week. Last week you had Kansas City. Obviously, with them getting a loss at 3 losses now, I believe it is, takes them out of there. So how would the Ravens? You hearing me? Not hearing me?
Can't hear you.
Shoot. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Hear me better there?
Yep.
Can Mac hear me? He just dropped his head. I'm guessing no. Anyway, we'll let you discuss your
Ravens pick
there. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Blasey?
Oh, Blasey has froze up. We're having a world of
Oops,
problems.
you froze up.
No.
I can hear Mac talking. You back in, Blades?
I think we have about 8 minutes with Ecamm, and then we're done. Ecamm is the TikTok of video.
TikTok. Yeah, I don't know.
Can you both
Still
hear me
on?
now? Yeah, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. All right, discuss your Ravens pick that you took.
Okay.
Well,
Really just had
yeah, he's going
last
in.
week. And I thought you were talking. And Kansas City gets beat. Obviously, Ravens were on a bye. I really can't, push them out of there. I've always had Seattle, except for a couple weeks ago. I had them right in the top 5, and I mean they're obviously right there as well, in the Vikings. But can't knock the Ravens out. Let's hope the Patriots do that for us Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That should be an interest. Go ahead.
I said amen, that's all. Amen.
So any predictions on that game, gentlemen? And that's how we'll wrap up the Week 8 segment. How do you see that one unfolding Sunday night in Baltimore?
Go ahead, Matt.
I know how I want to see it unfold. This defense has just delivered week after week after week, so I see no reason. I mean, Lamar Jackson's a great talent, but he hasn't come up against Bill Belichick yet in this way. And to me, I don't know if it was on Twitter or somewhere today, I thought somebody said, if this is what Bill Belichick can do when he takes over reins of the defense, why did he ever let them go? So, and I know, we've got Hightower back, we've got guys that are performing, we've got a great secondary, but to me, if that defense plays, I think Brady, we're due for a game that we can come out and play strong. N'Keal Harry, I'm so excited to get him back. So I'm full in. I drink so much Patriots Kool-Aid, I shouldn't be the guy to ask. So, until we lose, I'm expected to win every game.
There you go.
Then,
We'll definitely be favored on Sunday night for sure. So, all right, gentlemen.
3.5 points right now. It's only 3.5 points.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah. In Baltimore, so.
Right. All right, so we're going to move on to the World Series, and if I recall, you two gentlemen come out of the woodwork to predict that the Nats were going to take the Astros to a 7th game and win it at Minute Maid Park. Well, for them to win it, it's definitely got to go to 7 games now. Are you surprised at the way this series has unfolded, Bladesy?
I'd say the home team hasn't won a game yet, so I'd say anybody would be surprised at that for sure.
Yeah.
I think Mac's the same way with, the reason why we picked them is just because of Washington's pitching and how they could match up with did 2 games. Them well, and that's
Yeah, he's breaking up a bit. Hey, you hear me, Mac?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, till he gets back, you had him going. You had the Nats winning in 7th. You weren't here last week, so we kind of speculated that you took that pick, sort of the loyalty to the Expos. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. You just took Washington because you felt they were going to be the better team.
Yeah, I have zero Expos loyalty. That story means nothing to me. I thought their pitching was as good, and I just believed in their hitting going in, and the hitting left them in Washington. Whether it's the Astros pitching or just their hitters not stepping up. So I'm hoping that tonight Soto and company can turn it on and we can get a Game 7.
Well, Verlander certainly hasn't been a lock in certain games in the playoffs and things like that. So, I mean, there is some hope. Strasburg probably has been, their best pitcher. He's pitched better than Scherzer, at least in the first 2 games that were played. He came out strong, and he's a starter tonight. Scherzer does say that he's okay, and he will be ready for a Game 7 tomorrow night should they force it there. Interesting thing with this series that's developed, been a bit of an off story. Susan Waldman, she's a broadcaster with WFAN in New York, woman reporter, very good at what she does for the New York Yankees, has decided to protest this World Series. Hasn't watched an inning, hasn't watched anything at all due to the comments made by Brandon Taubman. And Brandon Taubman, for those who don't know, was the assistant general manager of the Astros. And as we all know the story with Roberto Osuna, was suspended for domestic violence and things like that. Taubman comes into a reporter scrum, all women, and over-exemplifies the name Roberto Osuna. We are effing glad we have Roberto Osuna. The Astros don't handle it particularly the way a lot of people thought they should have. Were you surprised, Bladesy, at the way Houston, handled it? And should more be being made of this with the World Series going on, or does that kind of take the whole thing away from the World Series itself?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of explained it quite well, actually. I think the guy's a dickhead, there's no doubt about that, and he got what he deserved, even though it was later than it should have been. I just don't understand the reasoning behind doing what he does there. I mean, it's just you just won, it's just stupid. But, I think people, MLB's going to downplay that. Of course they are. Why would they, this is their time. And for some asshole to go and ruin that, yeah. I mean, they did what they had to do. It was late. There's no doubt about that, But, they did what they had to do in the end. And, let's just watch the games and we can have these discussions later, I'm sure. Susan Waldman can do what she wants. That's great. And I don't think it's wrong for her to do what she's doing. I think the guy was a dickhead and, should have lost his job as far as I'm concerned. There's no place for that. And, but, I don't know what she wanted them to do.
No.
They didn't handle it correctly, but, in the end, it was handled correctly. And what else could they do? What's MLB going to do? I mean,
yeah. So, Mac, here's one for you. Did you see the? I know you're not a big Facebook guy, but you have followed some things. Did you see the video clip of Garrett Cole pitching to home plate, and the 2 young ladies up behind the plate raising their shirt and exposing a certain part of their body? Did you see that one?
Nope.
Never saw that. So what my question was going to be is, after this has happened to Taubman, the act of those 2 women, I mean, does that not kind of take some of the credibility away from the whole issue, or should this, be pursued, once the World Series is over, is this worthy of more discussion?
Yeah, I don't think that means anything to the discussion one way or another other than a cool meme for Facebook. But to me, the stories that are coming out about the Houston organization are bigger than baseball, and I think there's going to be, if they win another World Series, it might be easier to have a reckoning and do some house cleaning. But I think Hinch is the only guy that came out looking good because he answered the questions honestly and openly right away. And the rest of the organization, what you're hearing behind the scenes, it's win at all costs. And we could be hearing a lot more once the glow of the World Series is dimmed. I have to call you out on one thing, Duke. As someone who has listened to a few radio games on the MLB app, Susan Waldman may have been good at what she did but that broadcast team, oh my goodness, should have retired 10 years ago. And that's as a Jays fan, not a Red Sox homer or a Yankee. Like she and what's his name? Oh my God.
Sterling.
Yeah.
John Sterling.
Oh, they're
terrible.
I don't think anything's changed in 10 years, including their research. So, Susan Waldman, I praise her for her stand, and it's great that she made inroads as a female announcer for a team like the Yankees. But I think she and John should just go into Yankee Stadium, enjoy the clubhouse, and get some new blood in there.
Well, we'll let Yankee fans decide on that one. Doesn't mean neither here nor there. I don't think to any one of us on this panel. So, anyhow, thought it'd be a worthwhile topic to talk about, and certainly it does put a bit of a black eye on the World Series, and we'll see what happens after that. So, gentlemen, we are a week late, but that was done on purpose because Bladesy and I thought it wouldn't be a good idea for him and I alone to tackle the National Basketball Association, whose league got started a week ago. So we waited for Mac to come on here because he's more our resident NBA guy. So we're going to go about doing our 2019-2020 preview predictions. But before we get to predictions, we're going to talk a couple of topics. One is for all our Raptor fans out there coming off a world champion season, great. I don't care even if you wasn't a Raptor fan, if you kind of jumped on the bandwagon. It definitely did a lot to enhance the game of basketball, which was already pretty enhanced here in Canada, having a lot of young kids that are doing well in college and stuff down south of the border. But a lot has changed, T-Mac, for your Raptors since that last win in Golden State. What's realistic expectations do you think for this upcoming season for your Raptors?
I think top four in the East. You still have an all-star point guard in Lowry, who just about any team would happily have on their squad. Siakam is another all-star who I think we're already seeing signs of his ability to carry a team in the early going. Two experienced centers in Ibaka and Gasol gives the Raptors value that a lot of other teams would like to have. Two guys that play two very different ways. Van Fleet is a great guy in his role, and I think the dark horse going in, Anunoby was a kind of a steal by Ujiri a couple years ago in the draft because of some knee issues. And this is a guy that a full season in a Raptors uniform could be a real stopper, a real difference maker. Kind of, I don't want to say Kawhi-like because he can't score anything like Kawhi, but can provide a bunch of other things. When you fill that lineup out with Norman Powell, they grabbed a couple of guys in the offseason who were number one picks for other teams, and Hollis Jefferson, Stanley Johnson, that if even one of them pans out, top four in the East should be easy. And, injuries could affect things. A trade down the line could affect things. But I still see them as one of the top four teams in the East. And then you get to the playoffs and anything can happen. Lowry's a guy. Siakam's a guy. Two guys that can carry a team. So I think Raptors fans, winning another title will be hard, but a playoff run is definitely in the cards.
So, Blasey, do you think the Raptors play with a bit of a chip on their shoulder this year? I mean, obviously they lost Kawhi the whole way that thing kind of went down. I don't think fans are bitter with him. I think they'd like to have seen him been a little bit more up front. He really soaked it for all it's worth in that. But would it surprise you to Max saying top four? I don't know if I would give them top four in the East. What do you think? They play with enough chip to attain that, or do you think they've gone as far as they can really go?
No, I think they can. The East is just so poor that they really don't have to be that great to get top. I'll say top 6. I don't know about top 4. They could go to top 4. But I mean, you got the 76ers and you got Milwaukee, the top 2, right? And then after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. You got the Celtics, you got Miami, the Raptors, Indiana, a couple others. So if they were in the West, they wouldn't have a chance probably, but they're not. So I think they definitely get top 4 to 4, 5, 6, something like that. Kind of stepped aside last year. You didn't. You had Kawhi in there and didn't. He has a chance to come back and be that. So, Matt knows more about it than I do, but I do believe they can be, in that top 4, 5, 6 for sure, and maybe make a little run. Siakam is, he started out like house of fire. Marc Gasol, I think. He's getting some age on him. Not that he's the superstar or anything, but I think that deep run in the playoffs, and then he went and played a full world championship there and won for Spain. Is that gonna hurt him this year? He's gonna be a little more, he's not a young man anymore and played all summer kind of thing. I think that's not gonna help. But the Raptors definitely. What were they last year? 17-4 when Kawhi didn't play. That's I mean, I know it's not just Kawhi. Green as well is not there anymore. But they're definitely a playoff team in the East. And then when you get in the playoffs, you never know what can happen. So.
No.
But your point about Gasol is a good one, Blazy. The only thing is with Ibaka and with Chris Boucher, the young guy, Gasol only needs to play 15, 20 minutes a night. So they're not going to be riding him like another team might. So I think he'll be able to be there ready for the playoffs the same. They won't necessarily protect him the way they did Kawhi, which was such a very clear take a night off here and there. But I think they've got a smart coach who knows how to use his team, and they can have so much fun with the lineup this year. They're what is it when you're banking on what you've already done? What's that expression? Playing with house money. For quite a while here now, so I think it's going to be a fun year for the Raptors, and I'm excited to see some of these other former picks get some time. Like Anunoby would be if you're a Raptors fan or not, like there's a guy to watch this year. If he stays healthy all year, he could be a real difference maker in the East.
For sure. So the other topic I wanted to talk about a little bit before we get to the predictions aspect is this thing about super duos. Once upon a time, it was, having the top 3. Celtics had it with, Garnett, Allen, and who was the other guy with the Celtics, Bladesy? Pierce, gee whiz. And so now it seems like they're cutting it down to these super duos. So, Bladesy, is that good for the game of basketball? Is basketball a sport that can allow itself to have their great players double up on a team, or is this going to burn them eventually?
Well, I don't think basketball has been any more popular than it is right now. So I don't know how you can make an argument against it. The thing is, they're not just staying in one place. At least, now you got the Clippers with a couple. The Clippers is one of the teams that's favored to win. It's not like it's just the Celtics and the Lakers like it used to be in the 80s or whatever, the Bulls or whatever. At least they're moving around and doing this. I mean, basketball is different because there's only 12 guys, only 5 on the floor. You get 2 superstars, and it's a freaking, you got a team, man. And that's what gives these players a lot more control and a lot more control of their own lives kind of thing, as opposed to other team sports. So, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm pretty sure this Greek freak in Milwaukee wishes he had somebody with him. That could be his downfall. He doesn't really have that second guy. But,
No, he's got a bunch of good fourth guys. No second guy.
So, Mac, obviously there's a dominance in the Western Conference for these duos, but we don't seem to be seeing a load of it in the East. I know the Nets have gone out and they're doing it with Durant and Kyrie Irving, but Durant's off this year. What do you suppose is the lack of attraction in the East? Because, there's plenty of money to be had in the Eastern Conference.
Well, I'd say the Celtics have it. I'd say Miami is trying to get it. I think the East would be more than happy to do it. It's just the way it fell. Give it another year or two, and it might switch the other way. I think the NBA has too is the international market. Every year there's a Doncic or somebody else is coming over, so they seem to have an ability to create some more of these players that can become part of the duo. We'll see. I just think the West has had quite a run for a while, and we'll see if the East can catch up a little bit. But I think there are more. The Hawks with Trae Young proving himself to possibly be worthy of that kind of alpha male status. They're Markelle Fultz in Orlando proves to be, and I think there's more duos in the East than we think. Okay. Come back and halfway through the season, we might change our mind.
Well, we will not make any, aside from Mac, I won't speak for Blasey. I can tell you myself, basketball, it's not that I don't like the game. I love the game. When I can get into it, I get into it. But I just find it's kind of like with hockey. Hockey has all these Europeans. They have all these names and stuff that I lose track of. Basketball's getting to be like that a bit. A lot of Europeans coming into the game. Not that that makes the game lesser of any means. I mean, both sports are flourishing, and attendance is picking up in both sports, and merchandise is selling like crazy. I mean, they're giving $30 million to Kyle Lowry in Toronto. I mean, man, good to be them guys. But anyway, we're going to get into our picks. We'll start with the Eastern Conference. I'm going to show Max. He's got the Bucks, the Sixers, and the Miami Heat to win. Apparently, there's 3 divisions in basketball, much like hockey. I had to flip around to realize that, because when you go to Yahoo Sports and you click on the NBA section for standings, you end up with the whole East thing, and I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure there was divisions in this. So I had to click around a little bit more and things. So, Mac, you've gone with the Bucks, Sixers, and Miami Heat. Are they all slam dunks in your opinion?
I don't think so. No more of a slam dunk than the Patriots signing Nick Folk as their kicker. Breaking pass news. Nugent is out. Nick Folk is signed as their kicker, so the Super Bowl has been guaranteed. I think the Celtics are going to be right there. The Raptors, 76ers, I just think they have so much depth there, so much star power that they're due to finally put it all together. So they won out for me. The Bucks should be an easy call unless the Pacers can put up a fight, and they're 0-3 to start. And in the Southeast, you got a bunch of middling teams, the Heat, the Hawks, the Magic. Any one of them could come out, and I think the Heat have such a great coach that I figure with some added firepower that I just gave them the nod. I don't think the Magic and the Hawks are ready yet, so that was my thinking there.
All right.
But the Pats signed a new kicker, Nick Folk.
I think that makes Mac 2 for 2 on getting the scoop on with the Patriots and things. I think you're the one that announced the Brown thing, wasn't it? Or did Bladesy beat you to the punch that time?
Bladesy beat me to the punch.
Okay. So, Bladesy, you've gone ahead and said the same thing as T-Mac. Bucks, Sixers, and Heat. Anything more you want to try to add to what he just said? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, got me?
Yep.
Okay. Just things, everybody. I just threw that in there, but not
choppy.
I don't see anybody really knocking those 3 teams off their division. So really not much else more to say. I really hope Philadelphia falls flat on their face. They just kind of annoy me.
So do I.
What's that?
So do I,
Yeah, they just annoy me. I just really do not want to see them win. But Embiid and some of these guys are just kind of, I don't know. But I can't see anybody beating them for that division right now, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
Well, I agreed with you with the Bucks, but I'm going to go just a different route just because it would be boring if we all agreed on the whole thing the whole time. I am going to take the Celtics and say that Philadelphia is going to fall on their friggin' faces. I think Brad Stevens is a hell of a coach, and they got rid of this nuisance called Kyrie Irving. That guy, I'm telling you, if I was as big a Celtics fan as I am a Patriots and a Red Sox fan, I would be pissed big time with that guy, because last year I think that team had a chance to kind of have a crack at getting to the finals. I don't know if they would have won, but if that guy would have kept his head clear and just played basketball, I would have liked to see what might have possibly happened. But he's at, one of them Antonio Brown type guys. And so guess what? He went walking, did his thing, and I'm like, don't let the door hit you on the way out, because I just cannot go those kind of guys. I think Brad Stevens is a good coach. He just never really had that chemistry. Danny Ainge constantly always making moves, trading for picks, and holy cow, man, the rebuild has been stopped and started like 5 times, it seems like, since you've been there as general manager. So finally, I think we got something settled in there with Kemba Walker. Gotta love Kemba. Hearing a lot of good things about Kemba when he was with the Charlotte Hornets. And Hayward, Tatum, I guess, is another name I'm firing out there. I'm learning about this team as we go along. So, hell, I don't know much, but I do know a few names on the Celtics, and I'm going to pick them to friggin' win this division. It's even got me enticed. I took 3 of them in my fantasy pool. That's how confident I am on the Celtics this year. So we'll see if we both hit the brakes at the same time, or if we're going to succeed with this. So anyway, always fun to be discussing something you know nothing about. All right, so let's go back up.
Nothing new for us.
Hasn't stopped us before.
For sure. All right, well, let's go to the Western Conference, where there seems to be a bit more bling-bling out there. So, Mac, you have the Rockets, the Nuggets, and the Clippers. I'll ask you again, are those slam dunk ones this time, or does somebody else kind of, one of those picks you're kind of timid about?
I think it's a little more chalk this time. I felt like I really wasn't that excited about. The Clippers should be easy. The Rockets, I think the Spurs are starting. Popovich would love to continue a Bill Belichick type run, but I don't think he has the horses anymore. The Mavericks, I think, are a little bit away, so the Rockets are there unless the Harden-Westbrook partnership implodes. And the Nuggets, the Timberwolves just come out really strong, but the Nuggets they're an extremely deep team and well coached. So to me, they were the 3. They jumped off the page at me. The usual Western depth with the Lakers and the Jazz and some other teams, but those 3 teams just kind of stood out.
Okay. And Bladesy, I do believe you made the same selection as T-Mac, so you're putting a lot of trust in him.
I promise. We didn't talk, I promise. I think I said mine first, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. No, I mean, same thing. I mean, I think the Clippers are definitely a little bit above the Lakers right now. Also, with Anthony Davis and LeBron, I don't know how many games they're going to sit out during the year. LeBron has proven that they just want to make the playoffs, so I don't think they're going to try to win the division or anything. I mean, the Clippers are there. Houston that's going to be the fun team to watch with Harden and Westbrook and to see how they get along for sure. But if they can make that work, that's quite a combo there. Denver's one of those teams that everybody's talking about that's going to be right up there. And then also Utah, like Max said, Minnesota. But they've got definitely the West is definitely the depth. A lot of depth in the West, and Dallas has got a team there too. So we'll see what goes on. But yeah, I think it's pretty cut and dry. But you know what, with the NBA, like I said, with all this load management and things like that, I mean, you can't really trust a division or a regular season record. You can't really trust it as far as predicting it. You don't know how many of these guys are going to be sitting out 5 or 6 games, just for nothing. Mm-hmm. So,
So Westbrook and Harden, they're both guards, aren't they? Does one of them play small forward at all?
I don't know how they're going to – I haven't watched watched the game yet. You know, Matt?
I don't know. I think when you've got LeBron James being the point guard for the Lakers and other stuff, I mean, a lot of these positions are fluid. There's not enough balls in Houston for the two of them, so I don't know how it's going to work. And there's already, like, if you listen to the chatter, there's excitement about what it could be, and already as soon as the two of them talk to each other in the sidelines where it looks like they're upset, they're already making big deals about it. So there's just so much talent there that I think they'll work it out. But I've got the Nuggets winning it out there, so I guess they can implode and make me look good.
Well, again, I went against the grain on some of it. I do agree with you on the Rockets pick. Though, you know, San Antonio, I don't think you can completely dismiss them. Anytime Greg Popovich is coaching a team, he seems to always get the best out of what he has to work with. But I do think, you know, Westbrook and Harden together is going to be pretty unstoppable. Could be the modern-day New York Yankees, constantly bickering and arguing, not liking each other, but they definitely have the most talent in that division. I'm going to go with the Utah Jazz over the Nuggets because a lot of the things that I watched and listened to on YouTube about this, the predictions of wins were not that – there wasn't a huge difference there, right? And I think Utah is another one of them teams that are right up there with Denver that are expected to kind of take another step in their progress and stuff. So for no other reason, I'm going to just go for the Jazz because you guys went with the Rockets. And as much as it pains me to say this, I'm going to go with the Lakers to win in the Pacific because I think LeBron is going to be on a mission this year. He's coming. A lot of people are questioning about him. You know, has he lost his game? He's still, you know, trying to make that, you know, that climb to be, you know, right there with Jordan or exceed Jordan. And of course, that's an argument for another day. Who you think the greatest player is, but he's definitely putting up the numbers to get himself into that argument. So to win another championship certainly looks good on his resume with, you know, Anthony Davis. Obviously, they brought in. So I'm going to go with LeBron. It's not because I like the Lakers because I can't stand them anymore, and I do the Yankees and Maple Leafs and all them other downcast teams. But anyway, that's who I'm going to roll with. Probably dead wrong on all of these, but we'll take a look in the spring when the playoffs come around and see how accurate we were with some of these and stuff. So that is about as good as it's going to get with this NBA preview. Because, man.
We're not going to pick the winners, dude?
Well, go ahead.
No chances there.
Entertain us. Who are you going with on this for the final, Blazy?
All right, I'm going to go because I didn't want to go chalk all the way. So I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets, and I'm going to say old Westbrook and Harden, they work together 1 year and win it all. I'm going with that.
Okay. What are you figuring out, T-Mac?
Well, somehow Blazy and I have avoided Kawhi and the Clippers. I don't know if that's just some Raptors backlash or not, but I against my better judgment, think the 76ers are going to get out, and the Canadian in me is saying Jamal Murray is going to take the Denver Nuggets to the finals and win it. The Mile High City is going to get a basketball championship.
Wow. And I'll say the Celtics are going to
be a week after the Mile High City gets the Stanley Cup. That could be quite a week.
Yes, it could.
Could be. It could be a double dip there in Colorado. Frig, I don't know. I know nothing about this. More than likely, you're probably talking the Clippers and these teams you guys are talking about. I'm just going to go old school for old sentimental reason and say it's going to be a Lakers Celtics.
Oh my God!
Chapter to the dynasty.
Nice.
Don't ever say anything back because this is the guy that picked St. Louis and Boston for the Stanley Cup Finals. Don't ever forget that one.
Blazy, we will be doing this show from the retirement home in 30 years, and we're still going to hear about the Blues.
Yeah, you got to ride that for as long as you can.
Oh my goodness!
Can't blame you.
I didn't pick the winner right, but anyway, not a bad call.
That was just homer. That was homerism, though. For
sure. So. Well, anyway, gentlemen, it's been a bit of a choppy show, to say the least, with it, but we've hung in there. And
everything perfectly now.
Yeah, we can hear everything perfect. I'll have to go check and see if Karen maybe had. Oh, geez, what's Matt got there? Yeah, I know. You're not going to be with us next week, so I can assure you that's not going to be a topic of discussion when Bladesy and I come on here. But the following week, we will get into a high-end hockey segment. We're getting past that half of the halfway of the 25 games. I always heard that in the NHL, that when you hit the 25 game mark, that seems to give an idea of where things could be heading. Obviously, the Blues kind of put that to rest last year. Last place in January, and then they run off what they do. So, but we'll look more at hockey at that point. Either one of you got anything you want to close off with? Nope.
Other than the Patriots getting the best kicker available.
In case you missed that.
Yeah, I think my only thing for the NHL folks is I think we've got a changing of the guard happening in the league. If you see the number of teams that are at the bottom of the standings at the start of the season, you're seeing the Kings, you're seeing the Rangers, you're seeing the Sharks, you're seeing the Wild, and I think that's good. I'm excited to see Sabres and Avalanche and Coyotes and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how those franchises deal with the struggle, because a bunch of those teams are not used to losing. Chicago's already making some deals, and Johnson in Pittsburgh has traded a good defenseman to open up some cap room. I think it could be an interesting fall and winter with, I don't know if some of these teams follow the baseball and the football blueprints of blowing it up, and it could make for a very wide open NHL season. So that's what I'm excited about, and of course, go Habs, go.
Okay. Well, again, our apologies for the technical issues that we've been having. Not sure what to say. I can look into it and see if there's something that can be avoided, but everything was checked off that was working. So just one of those things. But we did get the show in eventually, and we appreciate everybody's patience with us. So on behalf of the boys, thank you so very much, everybody, and we will catch you again in 7 days when Bladesy and I will be in the hot seat. Mac will be away next week, but he'll be back with us in 2 weeks' time. So everybody have yourself a great night, and World Series in about 45 minutes. Take care.
Go Nats.